Anakin Skywalker stood at the edge of the landing platform. The wind cut across Coruscant like a blade. Below him, the city stretched out in every direction. Lights blinking, ships moving, life carrying on like nothing was wrong. But everything was wrong. Palpatine's words were still ringing in his ears. "Go to Mustafar, Lord Vader. Finish them." Anakin's jaw tightened, his fists closed. For one long moment, he didn't move. He thought of Padmé. He thought of her face, the fear in her eyes the night before, the way she'd held his hand, like she was afraid to let go. She was carrying his child, his children. And Palpatine had promised him the power to save her. But standing there alone, with the wind howling and no one watching, Anakin Skywalker made a different choice. He stepped back from the ship. He didn't go to Mustafar. He turned around and walked straight back to Padmé's apartment. When the door slid open and Padmé saw his face, she knew something had shifted. He looked shattered, like a man who had been standing at the edge of a cliff and pulled himself back at the last second. "Ani," she whispered. "What happened?" He didn't answer right away. He just crossed the room, sat beside her, and lowered his head into his hands. "I couldn't do it," he finally said. "I couldn't leave you." Padmé reached out and touched his arm, steady, quiet, careful. She had learned long ago not to push him in moments like this. But she could feel it. Something enormous had just shifted between them. "What did he ask you to do?" she said softly. Anakin looked up. His eyes were red. His voice was barely above a whisper. "Something I can never take back." Across the city, in the Chancellor's chambers, Palpatine waited. 1 hour passed. Then 2. His new apprentice Lord Vader did not arrive. The old man's expression didn't change, not immediately. He simply rose from his chair, walked slowly to the window, and stared out at the city below. His yellow eyes narrowed. This was unexpected. He had read Anakin Skywalker for years. He had fed the boy's fear, stoked his grief, bent his loyalty brick by brick, year by year. He had been certain the pull of darkness would win. He had calculated every move, and yet, Skywalker had not come. Palpatine turned from the window. His voice dropped low, cold, almost curious. "So," he murmured to no one, "the boy still has fight left in him." He straightened his robes. No matter. He had other plans. He always had other plans. Order 66 was already in motion. It started without warning. Across the galaxy, on distant battlefields, in jungle outposts, on cruisers cutting through open space, clone troopers stopped what they were doing and turned on their generals. No hesitation. No emotion. No mercy. Just blasters raised and Jedi falling. Plo Koon never saw it coming. Ki-Adi-Mundi turned to face his clones and was cut down before he could ignite his saber. Aayla Secura fell in the mud of Felucia, shot from behind by the soldiers she had fought beside for years. One by one, world by world. Order 66 was working exactly as Palpatine had designed it. But on Coruscant, something was different. Anakin felt it. He couldn't explain it at first. Just a sudden, terrible disturbance in the Force, like a scream that had no sound. Like 1,000 voices crying out all at once, and then going quiet. He stood up from where he'd been sitting beside Padmé. His body went rigid. His eyes went distant. "Ani?" Padmé said. "What's wrong?" He didn't answer, because he already knew. He grabbed his lightsaber from the table and moved toward the door. "Stay here," he said. "Lock everything. Don't open it for anyone. Anakin, where are you going?" He stopped in the doorway, looked back at her once, to fix what I almost helped destroy. He ran, not to hide, not to escape. Anakin Skywalker ran straight toward the Jedi Temple. The streets of Coruscant were already beginning to stir. Clone patrols were mobilizing. Gunships were lifting off from military platforms across the skyline. Palpatine's net was closing fast, but it hadn't fully closed yet. Anakin had minutes, maybe less. He pushed harder, moved faster, used the Force to leap gaps between platforms, to cut through side corridors, to stay ahead of the patrols that hadn't yet received orders to target him specifically. Because here was the thing Palpatine hadn't accounted for. Anakin Skywalker was still listed as a loyal asset, not a target. Not yet. The Order hadn't flagged him because Palpatine had expected him to already be on Mustafar, lightsaber in hand, doing the Emperor's work. That small gap, that tiny window of confusion in the command structure was all Anakin needed. He burst through the temple's side entrance just as the first clone unit reached the main gate. Inside, the Jedi were already reacting. Alarms were sounding. Knights and Padawans were moving through the corridors, some confused, some already drawing their sabers. Anakin found Shaak Ti first. "It's a trap," he said, breathing hard. "Palpatine, he's behind all of it. Order 66, the war, everything. You have to get word to whoever you can still reach." Shaak Ti stared at him, hard, searching his face for deception. "Why should I trust you?" she said carefully. Anakin met her eyes without flinching. "Because I was supposed to be the one who killed you." The silence between them lasted exactly 1 second. Then the temple's outer wall exploded inward, clone troopers breaching on 3 sides simultaneously. The battle for the Jedi Temple had begun. And this time, Anakin Skywalker was fighting on the right side. Mace Windu had not slept in 36 hours. He had been in the war room when the disturbance hit the Force. He had felt it the same moment Anakin had. That sudden, devastating silence where thousands of living presences used to be. Jedi, gone, all at once. He knew exactly what it meant. By the time Anakin reached the temple and word began spreading through the surviving masters, Mace was already standing in the center of the council chamber, calm, focused, and absolutely furious. He listened to everything Anakin told them. He didn't interrupt once. When Anakin finished, Mace looked around the room slowly, at Shaak Ti, at the handful of knights who had made it inside before the clone breach began, at the Padawans pressed against the walls, wide-eyed and gripping their sabers. Then, he spoke. "Palpatine is the Sith Lord we've been searching for. He controls the clones. He controls the Senate. And right now he is sitting in his office, waiting for news that we are all dead." He paused. "We are going to disappoint him." The plan came together in minutes, not hours, minutes. Because Mace Windu didn't need long meetings and careful debate. He needed bodies, sabers, and a clear objective. The objective was simple: get to the Senate district. Expose Palpatine publicly before he could spin the story, before state media locked down the feeds, before the Senate voted him any more emergency powers. The window was narrow, dangerously narrow. But it was open. Mace split the group into 2. The first team, led by Shaak Ti, would hold the temple and keep the clone forces tied up. Buy time, make noise. Make it look like the full Jedi resistance was concentrated there. The second team was smaller, faster, silent. Mace, Anakin. 3 senior knights. They would move through the Undercity, below the clone patrol lines, below the traffic grids, through tunnels that most Republic soldiers didn't even know existed. "If we reach the Senate floor before Palpatine locks it down," Mace said, pulling on a civilian cloak, "we end this tonight." Anakin fell into step beside him. "And if we don't make it in time?" Mace didn't look at him. "Then the Empire begins tomorrow." They moved fast through the Undercity dark, cramped corridors, lit by buzzing yellow lights, the sound of the city roaring somewhere far above them. No one spoke. Every step counted. Anakin stayed close to Mace. The tension between them was thick enough to cut. They both knew what had almost happened. What Anakin had almost done. Neither of them had the time or the words to deal with it yet. So they ran. They surfaced 2 blocks from the Senate building, just as the first news feed started broadcasting emergency alerts across every public screen in the district. Anakin looked up at the nearest screen. His blood ran cold. Palpatine's face filled the display, composed, sorrowful, perfectly measured. His voice carried clearly through the speakers. "It is with a heavy heart that I must inform the Senate. The Jedi Order has staged an armed coup against the Republic. The crowd around them stopped, stared, murmured. Mace Windu stood completely still on the pavement, watching the screen, jaw tight. The lie was already out. They were now the villains in Palpatine's story, and every Senate guard, every clone unit, every loyal Republic citizen on Coruscant was about to be pointed directly at them. Anakin turned to Mace. "He's faster than we thought." Mace pulled his hood lower and kept walking toward the Senate entrance. "So are we," he said quietly. "Move." The Senate rotunda was in chaos. Senators were shouting over each other. Aides were rushing between pods. Security feeds were cycling through images of clone troops surrounding the Jedi Temple. Fire, smoke, lightsaber, flashes visible even from orbit. And at the center of it all, Chancellor Palpatine sat in his elevated platform, perfectly still, watching, waiting, letting the panic build exactly where he needed it. He was moments away from calling the vote. Emergency powers, full authority, permanent command of the Grand Army of the Republic, the Empire, without ever using that word yet. Then, the doors blew open. Not the main entrance. The side access corridor, a restricted channel used only by senior Republic officials and Jedi liaisons. Mace Windu walked through first, hood down, lightsaber on his belt. Eyes locked on Palpatine's platform like nothing else in the room existed. Anakin came in right behind him. The Senate chamber went from chaos to dead silence in under 3 seconds. Every eye in the rotunda turned. Palpatine's expression shifted just slightly, just for a fraction of a second. A flicker of something that wasn't quite surprise, but wasn't quite calm either. Then the mask came back up. "Master Windu," he said, his voice smooth and sorrowful, amplified across the entire chamber. "I am relieved you are alive. These Jedi attackers, they have been stopped, I hope?" Mace didn't take the bait. He walked straight to the central speaker's platform and placed both hands on the rail. "Senators of the Republic," he said. His voice was level, controlled. Every word deliberate. "What you are watching on those screens is not a Jedi coup. It is a massacre ordered by the man standing above me." The chamber erupted. Palpatine raised one hand, patient and gracious, the picture of a leader under pressure. "These are the desperate lies of a defeated order. Show them," Anakin said. He stepped forward and held up a data chip. Small, silver, almost unremarkable. But what was on it was anything but. This contains Sith holocron recordings, Palpatine's own communications with Count Dooku, orders to prolong the Clone Wars, orders to eliminate the Jedi Council, and a direct link, voice verified to the Sith identity known as Darth Sidious. Silence. The kind of silence that falls when an entire civilization realizes it has been lied to completely, systematically, for a very long time. Bail Organa was the first senator to speak. "Projected," he said quietly. "Project all of it, now." The recordings played across every screen in the rotunda. Palpatine's voice, Dooku's voice, dates, battle coordinates, names of Jedi targeted for elimination years before Order 66 was ever triggered. Palpatine stood completely still through all of it. His composure held longer than anyone expected. But when the final recording ended, when the chamber filled with that terrible, hollow quiet, something changed in his face. The grief fell away. The warmth evaporated. What was left underneath was something older, something cold, something that had never actually cared about any of them. His eyes shifted just slightly to yellow. One senator screamed. Then the guards moved, but Palpatine was already reaching into his robes. "You have no idea," he said softly, "what you have just done." The holonet was still broadcasting. Every screen, in every room, in every district of Coruscant was showing the same thing. The Senate chamber, the recordings, Palpatine's face shifting from statesman to something ancient and terrifying. But in a quiet apartment high above the city, Padmé Amidala wasn't watching anymore. She was focused on something far more immediate. The contractions had started an hour ago, sharp, insistent, impossible to ignore. Her handmaiden Dorme had already calmed the medical droid unit, kept on standby. The room was calm on the surface. Organized, prepared, but Padmé's eyes kept moving to the door. "Come back," she thought. "Anakin, please, come back." And then, as if the Force itself had been listening, the door slid open. He was there, breathless, cloak torn at the shoulder. A burn across his left forearm from a close encounter with a clone's blaster. But alive, upright. And the moment he saw her face, saw what was happening, everything else fell away. He crossed the room in 4 steps. "I'm here," he said. "I'm right here." Padmé grabbed his hand and held on tight. "You're late." She managed, and somehow, impossibly, she was almost smiling. What followed were the longest 2 hours of Anakin Skywalker's life. He had faced separatist armies. He had fought through debris fields and fire and darkness. He had stared down Sith Lords and survived battles that should have killed him a dozen times over. None of it compared to this. He sat beside her. He held her hand. He didn't let go once. The medical droids moved efficiently around them, quiet, precise, unhurried in the way only machines could be, while a human being was falling apart in the corner. Outside, the city was burning at the edges. Clone units were fracturing, some standing down as the Senate broadcasts reached their command feeds, others still executing the last orders they'd received before the signal broke. Firefights were erupting in 3 different districts. The Republic was cracking open in real time, and in this room, none of that existed. The first cry broke the silence just before midnight. A boy. Small. Impossibly small. Wrapped in white cloth, face scrunched tight, lungs already working hard like he had somewhere important to be. Anakin looked at him and couldn't speak. The second came minutes later. A girl, quieter than her brother. Eyes already open, dark, focused, watching everything like she was memorizing the room. The medical droid placed them both gently in Padmé's arms. She looked down at them for a long moment. Then she looked up at Anakin. "Luke," she said softly, nodding toward the boy. Anakin swallowed hard, nodded. "And Leia," he said, looking at his daughter. He reached out and touched her tiny hand with one finger. Her fingers closed around it instantly firm, certain, like she had already decided she trusted him. Something broke open inside Anakin Skywalker's chest. Not pain, not fear. Something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope. He stayed like that, completely still, his daughter's hand around his finger, his son sleeping against Padmé's shoulder while the city burned quietly outside the window. For exactly 1 moment, the galaxy gave him this. Just this. Then his comlink activated. Mace Windu's voice, low, urgent, stripped of everything except necessity.